Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. The volatility index is an index that is not only meant to be used to measure the volatility in the markets. In fact, the majority of the traders are using this index to measure the market sentiment, the levels of fear and greed that is perceived in the general markets. In today's video, we're going to look much closer into the volatility index. The majority of the people are using the volatility index to better time their entries and exits in a long term. In today's video, I'm going to introduce a new indicator called the Volatility Index SPY. This new indicator can be used to scalp the market, can be used by swing traders. You can use it in the 15 minutes, in the 1 hour, and in the 4-hour timeframes. You can use it in any asset. Personally, I'm going to use it for trading BTC and Ethereum. I'm going to show you where this idea of using the volatility index came from, why I think it's such an amazing opportunity, and how are we going to turn this alpha into an actual signal. We will be looking into the performance. I'll give you a few examples of entries in the 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 4-hour timeframes using BTC USDT pair. And do not worry, because the signal is available for free, backtestable, and you can set up alerts using TradingView. Guys, I really want to give you a massive thank you for all the support that you've been giving us recently. We are really growing fast, and that's thanks to you. If you also want to support the channel, make sure that you hit the like, subscribe to the channel, and as soon as you watch any of our videos, make sure that the first thing that you do is to write a comment down below. The YouTube algorithm reads that as high engagement, and that's definitely what's helping this channel to grow this fast. Thank you so much. Let's get into the content. What you're seeing in the chart is almost 25 years of history of the volatility index. At the bottom of the chart, we have the S&P. It's pretty easy to spot where are all the bull runs and where are all the big corrections that we have had in the S&P. If we start aligning those events, you're going to notice that these areas are great entries on the S&P because they coincide with times where the bull markets are starting. You also have this area around here that is all to the upside. You have this area here that there's also big upside, and the tops of the volatility index are usually coinciding with areas where you should be taking profits or being more careful with the amount of risk that you're taking. The tops of the volatility index are areas where we should be looking into exits, and the bottoms are areas where we should be looking into entries. But there is a big problem with using this data, and that problem is that this is 25 years. All this oscillation of the volatility index takes many years to time so you can do all those entries and exits from the market. So here's the big question. Can we really use the volatility index for something like a scalping or swing trading strategy and turn it into something really profitable? Well, the answer is yes. But in order to get us there, let me introduce a few indicators into the chart so we can start understanding really how the signal works. In this chart, I have the volatility index at the top. I also enable a MACD indicator that is applied using the volatility index as a source. I'm hiding the MACD and signal lines. I'm only going to use the histogram. You can see the BTC price action and the S&P. The chart is on the daily now instead of being in the 3 months, and you can see that we can still kind of take the same conclusions. Whenever the volatility index is very high, like in all these areas, it coincides with tops of the markets, even if they're local tops, and we're not talking anymore about 20 years of price action, which means that we might be able to do something really powerful with this information. But here's the problem. It's very difficult to tell what number of the volatility index we should be using as a top and which number we should be using as a bottom. If we zoom out, you're going to notice that these tops are all over the place and the bottoms as well. If we do it in a long time frame, like here, 3 months, investors usually say that below 14, it could be the beginning of a bull market. And when you're crossing above 14, you might be headed towards a potential top of the market. You have some fixed numbers that you can use for the long term. But the challenge in this shorter time frame is that these numbers are arbitrary. The MACD is going to take the task of grabbing the volatility values and turning them into something that we can interpret always in an objective way. In this case, we're going to use the areas that are in green as overextended and the areas that are in red as areas where the VXY might be finding a bottom. But things are not as easy as it sounds. Sometimes you might find that the histogram remains in the red and bounces into the green and then comes back into the red, and it's not as straightforward as just saying we are in red, it's going to go up, we are in green, we are going to come back. For example, here you have two tops of green. So maybe you are going to say this is the top, but then there's another one. But we have a solution for that. And the solution is that we're not just going to trade based on the colors of this. We're also going to incorporate some TA into our signal. I know you might be wondering, but is it going to work? Are you going to be able to use it in the 1 hour, in the 4 hour, or even to scalp in the 15 minutes? And the answer is absolutely yes. I managed to nail good combination of TA indicators together with what the volatility index is doing to massively improve the performance of this signal. So let's have a look at the signal. To show you the performance of the signal, we're going to load BTC USDT in the 1 hour, and we're going to head down to indicators and look for TTP VIX SPY, this one here. We're going to look into the performance of the signal, and I'm going to run you as well into which parameters is suffering. You're going to have two types of signal, signal 1 and signal 2. The signal 1 is active when the beginning of a new trend for the VIX is confirmed, and the signal 2 is activated when the volatility index pulls back from an extreme value. Both of the signals are using green for the longs and red for the shorts. All this coloring that you can see above the price and sometimes below the price is nothing but a super trend. What matters about this super trend is what we are plotting it with a background that coincides with the colors of the MACD histogram when applied to the volatility index. Therefore, we are able to see what's going on under the hood with the volatility index while I'm trading BTC. We're going to look into the performance in different time frames. We're going to start with the 1 hour time frame. In here we can see that we have a signal around there for a buy. We have a sell that is still coming down. We have a few buys here. All of these are profitable. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buys and 2 sells so far. This one here, it is profitable, but you need a decent stop loss to allow this to move 10% to the downside. If you only had a 1% stop loss, of course, they're going to catch you. A few more signals here. You can see that there are some sells around there. There is a buy here that goes 8% up, and this one is a sell. Let's go now to the 4 hour time frame to see where are the signals located in a very long period of time. We have some buys around here and sells. So pretty much from around October, everything looks really great in the 4 hour. If you wanted to scalp in the 15 minutes, is this useful? I think so. This looks pretty good to me. We have this signal there. We keep going to the left-hand side. These two signals are incredible. We have almost a downside here of 8.5%, followed by an upside of almost 6%. And if we keep going left, we're going to keep finding more signals. Here we have one that will have got stopped out, and this one that comes down 1% to the downside. So on the 15 minutes, you're going to find more noise. My preference is to use it in the 1 hour. Now we're going to look into the parameters. The top 2 parameters belong to the built-in super trend that we are using to counter trend. All the signals coming from the volatility index SPY are counter trend signals, unless you untick that. We are looking at the super trend, and whenever there is an uptrend, we're looking for shorts. If there is a downtrend, we look for longs. The YBBW, this stands for Bollinger Bands Width, and is filtering out signals that are only preceded by a massive move that has expanded the Bollinger Bands width. We have 2 parameters that are using a slope. The parameter for the slope look back is around here, and what it means is something very simple. Let's add the RSI so I can explain it. Let's say we're going to take this long coming from the signal number 1 right there. In that case, we're going to have a slope in the price, and we're going to have a slope in the RSI. When we are using those filters, we are looking for a time where the price slope has increased to the upside. In other words, it's starting to reverse and we are looking for an RSI that is still going down. By having these two conditions at the same time, you're pretty much looking for a bullish divergence in the case of a long or a bearish divergence in the case of a short. You also have two parameters extra that I'm currently not using, and that's why they are not ticked by default. The volatility index RSI filter is removing signals if the volatility index RSI is in the opposite extreme. So levels of RSI 70 and 30. And the working days only is going to remove all the signals that are triggered during the weekend. During the weekend, the volatility index is not expected to move unless it's after hours movement. So many of you might prefer to have this ticked on, in which case you're going to be able to see which days were working days and in black which days were weekends. And you're going to remove everything that is being triggered in the weekend. In this indicator, you're going to have access to alerts. You can set them here. And if you go to the data window, you're going to notice that there is a stream of backtesting signals that you can connect into any backtester. For example, Gavin's backtester, Aster DCA backtester, or even Absolute No. Alright guys, I hope you found this information as interesting as I did. I really enjoy trying to get something tradable using the volatility index as a source together with TA of the assets. Before you try the indicator, make sure that you try it in the asset that you're planning to trade. Look at the signals and see if there's some sort of correlation that is giving you good performance before you trade it. And let me know in the comments what you think about this new signal and if you're planning to use it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.